westerly. I'm wondering if you might have not been significantly affected by the cyclone, but basically for the last 24 hours, my property has been bombarded with 50 mile an hour winds, and I was really surprised I didn't lose power here. It was like threatening to go off for like 24 hours. Nefedov, you must have another chess stream to watch or something, no? Bobby wasn't aware of any storms going on. Like yesterday, like they canceled the New York Yankees against the Houston Astros, because of a huge, giant storm. That storm is so massive that it actually affects like 5 different states. So it hit here really hard. I mean, my yard is like covered in tree branches, and I really feel very lucky that I even have power. But I mean, so far I've had a bomb cyclone, a hurricane, and a tornado in the last 2 months. It's a good time. Tired of this enough, but we're gonna go back to Budapest, guys, in 3 weeks. So we've got 2 more weeks of streaming. We'll take a week off and then continue with the Budapest stream times, European facing stream basically from the second week of November. Basically, looking at the schedule, I think we're going to be taking most of the first week in November off. That's how it's looking. We will stream on Halloween, the day after Halloween, and then we'll be off from November 2nd until November 9th, when we'll resume on November 10th. I guess it will be Sunday, November 10th. So I have 1 week with no stream. We are live, I hope so. Astrobate, it looks like your internet's a little sketchy. Guys, we've got the subscriber stream. We're analyzing games. Mr. Coffee, thanks for joining me. I don't know how he got hit by bomb cyclone, but I thought maybe Pennsylvania would have been affected, obviously earlier than here. But just I never saw so prolonged high winds for like 24 hours as we had here. It was hard to sleep last night. All right, guys, so let's get started. We've got Thursday subscriber stream. Merle, Nefedov, Mr. Slowhand, Notch Papa, Mule Skinner ×2, Asterbait, and Bob. Apparently, I don't know that much about meteorology, but this is like the lowest, like the low pressure, like it's like a low pressure record or something for this time of year. That the storm had was like the October low pressure record, like for all history or something in the region where I'm at. Whatever that means. But let's get started. So Merle, what's up? We've got Merle first. Merle is here in the house. I'm not seeing his submission. He was first. Dear Master. Was it you, Merle? Maybe you didn't actually submit anything. That was something else. Merle, are you actually on the list? Maybe I'm wrong. Hello. Merle, is this a submission? Wait, maybe you didn't submit anything. That was just a suggestion you were making about something else. I think I just thought Merle was going to submit a game, and then he didn't. He wrote me something else. Yes, I have a date in the title. Maybe I deleted it. Oh, you were actually here. Yeah, all right, I got it. It's earlier. So please go over this game between Sigbert Tarash and Alexander Alyekin, for which you and JCS talked on the stream. Insured for $1 million? Well, I mean, Bob, basically, we've had homeowners insurance on my house for 25 years. My mom did, and never once, as far as I know, did we ever make a claim on the homeowners insurance for 25 years. It's kind of like, it would be funny. After 25 years of paying homeowners insurance, you finally make a claim, and they say no, I think homeowners insurance should be like optional. All right, dear master, please go over this game between Tarash and Alyekin about which you and JCS talked. So here we go. This is very famous game. Is a very famous game regarded to be like essentially. So it's not really the first Blumenfeld game. Okay. So the reason it's called the Blumenfeld, right? There was a Russian master. I mean, presumably he's Jewish, named Blumenfeld, and he wasn't well known. You know, this guy has some games, but the irony is this old Russian Jewish master, Blumenfeld, has just a handful of games which are even available, you know, in the database, but none of them are in the Blumenfeld Gambit. So the story is kind of vague. It goes basically that he was a really strong blitz player. He was a known master, but he didn't play that many well-known games. Presumably, Alyekin like took the idea from Blumenfeld, and then attributed his name to the Gambit. But I guess, you know, it's just a story. I don't know where you can actually verify that. Maybe asking Edward Winter, some kind of chess historian. You'd really have to research it with a chess historian. So, not to be confused with Rudy Blumenfeld, who's like an American national master. Blumenfeld, you can find games. You won't find any Blumenfeld games, you know. So, he probably played the Gambit against Alyekin or somebody in Blitz, or Alyekin had seen him play it against people, and so attribute his name to it, you know. But as far as tournament record goes, there doesn't seem to be any actual games to support the naming of it as the Blumenfeld Gambit. Basically, Alyekin is like the first big time player to play it, and this game is easily like the most famous one. So d4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, c4, c5. And then one of the problems I have with the Blumenfeld is that there's so many ways to avoid it. I mean, white can play knight c3, e3, g3. So, I mean, all these moves just avoid the discussion. So d5 is the best move, but it's not necessarily going to be played by everyone. And now b5. I mean, the modern Benoni is easily the most common move here, right? But my philosophy about this position is that when you're playing the modern Benoni, you know, you're exchanging on d5, bringing that pawn toward the center. You're not really achieving anything necessarily. With b5, you're undermining white's center. What's up, WJ Loof? Jim, good to see you. I feel like attacking the base of the pawn chain is the most principled and aggressive move here. I mean, check it out. Like, Stockfish says that b5 is black's best move. Born Filthy. Yeah, people use Chess Tempo. I used it a little bit. It's not a bad tactics site. I think that's not a bad tactics site. I had a friend from Romania who's an IM, and he swore by doing tactics problems on Chess Tempo. And it's like free. I think you can sign up, but I like the problems a little bit better than the ones on lichess, let's say. Anyway, it's interesting, b5 the best move here according to the engine, rather than the modern Benoni. Don't talk about that, Bob. Thank you, WJ Liv, for the donation, 200 bits. Mr. Coffee Jim, Angry Dragoon. WJ Loof, Warnaki, Merle Dixon, Move 11, HTFP. So b5, two key variations here are taking and bishop g5. Bishop g5 became the main line, but taking is principled because you win a pawn. It's funny, the other day I had another player play this against me, which is almost never played. But it's actually not that bad for white. It's probably equal. It's funny that this is never ever played. It's not such a bad move. I had a 2000 player play this against me last week. Joe's friend played this in Blitz against me. All right, so let's take a look at this famous game. So b5 takes, c takes b5, and then, you know, I've analyzed this quite a bit with computer, and I mean d5 was always the famous move because of this game, I think, most importantly. That's interesting, Mr. Coffee. I thought you got more than 20 tactics for free. Maybe Chess Tempo changed it or something. I thought it was like more. Huh. Somehow I thought the tactics, there wasn't that kind of limitation on it. But I haven't checked that site in like over a year. To be honest, I'm not really sure. It's gonna be. This is not a Benko Asterbate, just so you know. This is not a Benko. It's the Blumenfeld Gambit, and it's not a Benko, it's a different opening. So the question here is, you know, is d5 the best move, or is there something more flexible than d5? And the modern players are leaning toward more a6 and bishop b7, trying to keep more flexibility about playing d5. All right, so d5 committed early, and I think Merle's variation, knight c3, where white strives to play e4. It reminds me of the note boom, Queen's Gambit, if anybody knows the note boom, Queen's Gambit. You have to break the structure somehow in order to disturb the system, in other words. So whatever it takes, you have to like create some kind of havoc and mess up black's pawn fluidity in order for white to get a good game. You know, so this move, which looks on the surface, it looks crazy, especially in that day and age, to play knight c3 would have been like really extreme. You can see this was played by Matthew Sadler. Knight c3 is interesting. I don't remember if you played that against me, Merle, but this suggestion is very interesting, and it's dangerous, I think. And maybe, you know, enough. I didn't play d5 against you. I'm sorry. I'm remembering now. But I didn't play d5 against you. I played a6, and we transposed. That was the point. It was b takes a, and I played d5. And now you played... Was it now you played knight c3? Wasn't this how it went? See, I had never seen anyone do this before. Do you remember? Like, you took on a6, didn't you? Or did you play knight c3 here? See, I can't remember now how the move order went. You did take. Okay, see, there's three different possibilities. You can play it right away, you can take on a6 and then play it, or you can just play it. If that makes sense. It's confusing between the different variations. I played a6. Aliekin plays d5. You know, so this looks like a critical test. But in those days, you know, this was new, so Tarash reaction was e3. This is very, very passive. Very passive. It's funny to see LeBron normally plays like the old Indian and the Bogo Indian. I don't know why he would choose to play the Blumenfeld against Karpov. This seems like kind of a dumb idea. Alright. So e3. I think this is like the worst system for white, basically. Like g3 is good, as Lazuganda played against me. Knight c3 is interesting. But literally, like, basically the worst setup here for white is e3. Because it's passive. And now bishop d6. Knight c3. But there's no e4. You've already, like, wasted the tempo on e3. So black gets a pretty good game. Castles, bishop e2, bishop b7, and then b3. This is actually not a bad setup. Maybe white should castle first. here. Knight bd7, bishop b2. That's funny that this game where Hare Krishna is black, they reached the exact same game. Yeah, I'll be taking on students again. You have all your credit cards ready. Huh. Nobody ever uses credit cards. It's funny. I never have students who use credit cards. I mean, I could. Maybe for eBay. I wanted to take credit cards for eBay. Actually, I wanted to take credit cards for my estate sale. They wouldn't let me. Right, no, you can do it through PayPal. Yeah, I could set up like credit card payments through PayPal or something. I'm going back to Hungary in 2 weeks, so after that I'll probably be able to start teaching some new students. I've been so little. I've had so little time. Now I'll be able to focus less on my house and more on just working. This position, you see, the thing is, if you ever play e5, white can play e4. It depends on the position. I mean, sometimes this is a good move. Like if d4, this would be good, except for this e4 pawn, I guess, is just not protected here. I mean, at the end of the day, you ask yourself, why did black not play e5? Knight g5, queen e7, and then e4. So if d4, bishop c4 check, king h8, still this is not convincing. It begs the question, I wonder, I'll turn off the engine, but these are my only fears when I'm playing black here, that white will have some way to get in there. But I mean, at the end of the day, queen e7 is played, right? But maybe this was just good. Damn, Bob, you're just too high profile. The highest profile troll in online chess streaming. People are like, they call you the guy who I tolerate, basically. That's what they say. Queen e7. The guy who Sladgie tolerates. Where's that guy that Sladgie tolerates? Man, but I mean, if you can play e5, it's kind of like, well, if that's going to happen, white's just going to be dead here. There are some situations where this sort of tactic might work. You got to stack up, stackables. I guess Alyakin is a little concerned about that. So queen e7, unnecessary, but a good move that connects the rooks. Defends the bishop on d6. So we don't have stackables. I mean, there are other possibilities. Like sometimes even queen b8, this sort of controlling that diagonal. Now this position's been played in a bunch of games. King h8. That seems like over preparation. Seriously. Again, why can't we play this? Igor Nemtsev. That's weird. Nemtsev. It's kind of familiar. But Vichugov when he was like a little kid. This must be like Vichugov when he was 8 years old or something. I mean, that's a very old game. He was 2408. Happy beering, WJ Loof. Okay. Unicorn themed beer. Nice. Any kind of beer is good. Yeah, I mean, this is a strong move. It's a solid move by black. I just don't know why e5 isn't okay. Look at this move. Vityugov versus Vityugov. Nefedov will be getting on me about pronunciations, but he's up next. Vityugov plays rook c1. I mean, it looks like white's just getting annihilated here by e4. How does white not have a huge problem in this position? Can somebody explain this to me? This is like horrific for white. Seriously. Just do it. Just do it. Nefedov loves my pronunciations. But this looks awful for white. Like we're just walking into e5. Or knight h4. The knight's in the twilight zone out there. This looks horrible. So I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't seem necessary to play rook d8, is what I'm saying. Like this looks good. So Alyakin over preparing this position. Rook d8, queen c2, e5, bang. There it is. And it's over. I mean, rook e1 is even worse now. This is such a bad move. The worst move in the game by Tarrasch. Isn't there a famous game where Tartakover played the Blumenfeld? It's been so long since I did the video series on the Blumenfeld that I can't remember now. I thought it was Tartakover who actually had one of the first Blumenfeld games. Maybe for next time, Mr. Merle. But Rook E1 is like, what planet are you from? You know? It was played online. Look at the F file, my friend. That's an open F file. Maybe Tarrasch forgot that there's no F pawn on F7 or something. Like seriously, isn't there an issue here with this? My God, it's over. It's just over. You know, this is like an amateur move, amateur hour. Knight d2. He thought he had time for knight d2. It's a little bit like a King's Indian attack. Let me turn off the engine. But it's a King's Indian attack. He figured, oh, I've got knight d2, knight f1, plenty of time, you know. There's going to be a sacrifice here. Hello. You know, very primitive breakthrough. e4. Nefedov's very sensitive about his accent that he doesn't have. Knight e5. This is beautiful. This makes you want to play this opening, basically. And I guess there's like many ways to crush white in this position. This is we don't have as many games this week, so I can spend some more time on the games than usual, by the way. But this is the proverbial many ways to skin the proverbial cat. You know, in this position, the advantage is so massive for black, I would say. But the thing is, like Blobby, this position is so overwhelming because of the central control that like literally there's probably like 4 different moves here, you know, for black that are like crushing, you know. When I get back to Budapest, maybe we can meet for some more Belgian beers, Nefedov. Practice my accent. So even with the knight on d1, protecting f2, there's really no protection for h2, as you can see. It sort of plays itself. You know, I mean, this is, oh my God, you know, this is coming. It wasn't a good day for Tarrasch. There's really, you know, nothing to do. So that was his plan all along when he played this stupid idea of rook e1. To bring, you can never get mated with the knight on f1. That's the principle, right? Everything's protected. Look, f2 is protected, h2 is protected. The other thing that's not protected is g2. If only we could open up g2. And now, I mean, among other things, probably even this move is a threat. There's space. I'm not sure queen g5 is necessarily the best move. Let's see. Computer, tell us, the oracle, tell us the best move. It is the best move. Bishop c8 acerbate. That's awesome. Black's position is so crushing that he has time for bishop to c8 because there's no move for white. White's just lost. I mean, queen h4 is clearly killing. Queen g5 is winning. Bishop c8 is winning. You know, probably rook f5 is winning. I mean, I would wager that rook f5 is a winning move. Let's see. Computer doesn't really like rook f5. This move allows the f4 defense. All right. That's very key. If you play rook f5, your rook is unprotected against the queen on c2, allowing for the blockading f4 motif. One of the only moves that doesn't work for black. Pretty much anything that doesn't allow f4 is winning for black. You know, so like queen e6 is probably good. Now, as long as we can take here en passant, we could play queen e6 preparing to play rook f5. Queen e6 with the idea of rook f5. Queen e6 got to be good. This is good. There's the idea of knight e5, knight d3, which is positionally over too. All right. Anyway, so you see the end here. Queen g5, h3. Obviously, that's going to help because we want to weaken our king side more. And then, and I think that Sladgie will really appreciate this knight h4 because that's his favorite square. Knight h6, the idea of knight f5 and knight h4, and then bishop c1. We're feeling good about this position for white. Sorry, I skipped ahead, guys. Didn't mean to do that. So knight f5, knight h2, and then d4. And notice how everything's protected. You know, it's just like it's an apocalypse. This is an apocalypse. I'm sure it was more than 3 beers. We had to have more than 3, Bob. Yeah. Bishop c1, d3, queen c4 check, king h8, and now the spatial wedge here. Just essentially, it just cuts white's whole position in half, you know? So there's no rush. There's nothing white can do. He's essentially just lost. This stops rook f6, bishop b2. And again, this space factor. As I say many times, it's important. So he didn't get to play Sladgie's favorite knight h4. Again, there's many ways to win this position, I'm sure. And what a very conservative approach. Rook f7. We'll just take our time. By the way, we're guarding a7, preparing double rooks. Knight e7. Tartakover was the one who was like, wasn't it Tartakover who was big on knight outpost on the 6th rank is winning? What did he say about knight outpost on the 7th rank? Look at this. We've got all the time in the world. White can't do anything. Once again, he took his time. And now d2. Whoops, the rook's trapped. By the way, oh, we have that. Okay. That's a slight problem. And I think, you know, a sacrifice of some sort here is yeah, it's pretty much over. And as I mentioned, f4. Sladgie's my favorite move. I was thinking queen f5 now, but this is much more direct. And this is just ridiculous, really. And then there's that. So you could play out, I mean, you could play it out like one more move, right? King g1. You would think after all that, you know, after all that he would play one more move, wouldn't he? I'm trying to remember. The queen is protecting d8. Oh, we're just playing bishop h2 check, winning the queen. Yeah, rook h3 check, king g1. Very simple here. We win the queen. All right, anyway, it was a funny game. I wouldn't really, I don't know, it was a different era, and you have to keep in mind, I guess the date was 1922. I don't know. I think White could have resigned a lot earlier. Black was just having fun with him. But people didn't necessarily resign quite as early back then. So Nefedov is up next. Nefedov. My game from Simul played here on lichess against Spiegelman. Real Simuls. Wait. This is a real Simul. I didn't know it was a real Simul. Nefedov was paid by lichess for this game. No, he wasn't. He paid to have beers with John Spielman in real life. This is John Spielman against Nefedov. Well, there's the famous player Spielman, Rudolf Spielman, so it was a little stupid joke, like Hungary and Hungary. It's pretty bad. Spielman here doesn't realize that, Nefedov is like a world-leading expert in the... He doesn't realize that Nefedov is one of the world's leading experts in the Schliemann defense. So he goes unsuspecting. Oh, just another, another club player. Bishop e5, f5. But interestingly, John, by his own admission, doesn't really specialize in opening theory. He's an endgame guy. But having said that, Weedmaster, my friend Joe, who has a recent book on Schliemann, and some other players who I know, have basically a lot of attention has sort of shifted to this move d3. Whereas knight c3 was always the main line, it looks more and more like d3 is kind of an easier way for white to play. So a simpler approach. I never really liked this. It seems kind of passive, and it almost seems like you're letting black get away with something by playing d3. But it is easier to play. All right. I wanted to test Nefedov's prep. I kind of wanted to test Nefedov's prep in this line, but I haven't had enough time to do my homework. I think I just tried to donate to my own stream by accident. Guys, please donate. Speaking of which, please donate and support the stream. Mr. Coffee, Jim, Angry Dragon, and others have donated bits. Guys, also thanks for subscribing. This is my way of giving back to supporting the stream. And you can do a Streamlabs donation or a direct PayPal donation to help support the stream. I haven't had a lot of time for my Nefedov preparation lately. He hasn't been around the stream as much either. So f takes e4, d takes e4, and now knight f6. Weedmaster was talking about, the whole concept of playing queen d3 at an early date in this line. This is known. I had another friend a long time ago, Paul McIntyre, who's a FIDE master, and Paul used to play this for white. At that time, 15 years ago, I thought, why play d3? Knight c3 is just a better line. But, in retrospect, the knight c3 line isn't that clear that it's like putting the Schliemann like out of business. So maybe they were onto something. Maybe Paul and these guys were even onto something earlier. Maybe d3 is just an easier way for white to play. I don't really like releasing the tension. It's kind of like playing the exchange. For me, like when you play d3, it just feels like fe4, de4, the position becomes kind of fixed. I don't like it as much. Knight f6, castles d6. So this is weird. So d4, knight f6, castles, right? And so John here plays d6. I don't think I've seen that. I mean, I guess I'm used to seeing people play bishop c5. Warnaki, thank you for the donation since I asked for it. Tier rewards. Yeah, so I mean, I know this is the recommended variation. Bishop c5, queen d3, and then obviously, you know, you get the bishop outside the pawn chain. I'm not sure about this. PSG Soccer just subscribed. Awesome. There was this guy from like the Philippines who wrote this book recently on the Schliemann named Junior Tay. I know he was using knight d4 fairly early in some positions. I'm not sure if this was one of them or not. But you definitely see some top games here with Jabov and Ivanchuk. Kind of seems familiar to me. All right, but this is a bit unusual. D6. Obviously, there are some white square weaknesses in black's position. So Nefedov, Billy, we ban people for that. Bannable offense. I keep thinking, like, for some reason I started thinking that at one point that Spielman was black and Nefedov was white. I don't know why I started to have that commentary a little bit. I might have even said Spielman played whatever d6. Nefedov is black and Spielman is white. Okay, it says that right there. You know, it's just that it's so small. Like, I kind of wish these names were just a tad bigger because they're so small that it's like they're almost invisible. I feel like the names next to the board should be a tiny bit bigger so they're more noticeable, more pronounced. But yeah, so I want to know from Nefedov if this is his home prep or if he's just making this up over the board. He has some of the best hair in chess. Yeah, he and Alberto David go to the same hairstylist, along with King Buzzo from the Melvins. I wish I had cool hair like that. So, d6, knight c3. Again, you know, it feels like the white squares are kind of calling here. So the queen d3 is a very logical move. Yeah, this is creepy. It's a little creepy to play h3. I'm not sure, you know, how much Spielman knows about the theory. He's, as I said, openly admitted that he doesn't really specialize in opening theory. So it seems weird to weaken the king side with the bishop on the diagonal here, particularly in a Schliemann where black has played along the f file. So something like knight h5, knight f4 is going to come with much more effect. If you play this instead, you can avert the danger of the bishop g4 pin without weakening your king side with h3. That seems like this doesn't... Well, I mean, another thing, I mean, I also think that's debatable, Warnaki. It's very debatable, the decision to play knight c3 here by white. I think that in a lot of cases, yeah, we do have an issue with blocking our c pawn. But I mean, at the end of the day, are you going to take time out to play like c3, or like what are you going to do? You're going to put your knight on d2? I mean, C4. Do we have time for that? Arkady Naidich. I just know we have time. I mean, C4 seems like it's asking for a bit too much. So this is not unreasonable. I don't like H3. Castle. Bishop C4 check. King H8. Yeah, so. The Grand Master is Michael Basman, not John Spielman at this point. Spielman meets Basman with H3 and A3. Not very, impressive setup, I would say. Queen E8 now, standard oil. Kind of standard maneuver for black to give Queen G6 or Queen H5 here. You've got Bishop D8 if need be to protect C7, kind of like the classical Dutch. In the event of Knight B5, I mean, obviously you have a defender. This is not a problem. So finally John plays Queen D3, which, he could have played before. It makes you wonder, why is H3 even necessary? Queen H5. I'm not sure we're threatening anything. It also, the other thing about Queen H5 that's debatable, I would say, is that it takes away the square from the knight. So I would definitely... Bob, that's ridiculous, dude. Stop making things up, okay? We're going to have to time Bob out for lack of statistical, historical chess reliability, okay? Let's give him a 1-minute timeout for fake news, for fake chess news. 1-minute timeout for fake chess news. All right. Thank you, Mr. Coffee. Let him back in 1 minute, but it's just ridiculous, dude. John Spielman was never, with all due respect, he was never anywhere close to fourth in the world, okay? Bob is spreading fake statistical chess news. You see, you can't trust the internet, Bob. You can't just do an internet search and believe everything you read. All right, your information needs to be better vetted before you put it on the, before you click and you copy and paste it onto my stream. Go to the back of the classroom in shame and write, I will not post fake chess news ever again. I will not post fake chess statistics ever again without being properly vetted. All right, Queen H5 here. Seriously, guys. Why do we need to do that? I mean, this primitive threat of bishop takes H3. I'm looking at this move. Oh no, we're not going to start that again. Dude, I'll time you out too. Spielman was Hungarian. Didn't even start. Dude, he was world champion. I mean, come on. Knight H5. I wonder about this move. I mean, it's not that big a deal, right? I mean, Knight D5, Bishop D8. We're not really threatening anything direct. I think this is a key position for Nefedov here. I mean, I like Queen E8. I just feel like I wish there was a way we could improve our position. And maybe we should wait and play. We could play Bishop D7. Okay, here. Are we really threatening to sack a piece here? Because if we are, I mean, then this may be a good move. Bob, do I have to time you out? Do you want to stop making ridiculous claims? I'm not going to fight about your fake news, man. I will time you out again, personally. I'm not going to let... You're being a troublemaker now. Like, don't make absurd claims, okay? he wasn't even in the top 15 in the world, you know. This is ridiculous. Okay. Well, I don't know about that, man. I really do not believe that. Yeah, Bob. What is that? His personal Wikipedia page or something? I mean, I seriously, Bob. I really don't trust that statistic. His club, chess club. Thanks, Bob. This is important. All right, I'm just gonna time him out. Let's just time him out. Bob, you're distracting from the focus of the stream, and it's getting annoying. I don't care anymore. You know, you're just distracting from the stream. We're trying to do game analysis here, and you're turning it into you. You know, it's not. It's like the argument the other day about Bulgarian and Hungarian. I'm getting bored with it now. All right, I think that claim is bogus, but I'm not going to do historical research to prove it one way or the other. All right, so 92, Queen G6 here. He's afraid of bishop takes H3. See, I see a problem here. If we sack a piece on H3, bishop takes H3, G takes H3, queen takes H3, White has knight takes E5 in that moment where there's no check for black. I think this is going to refute it. Bishop takes H3 would just be refuted by GH3, Queen H3, Knight E5. So basically Nefedov has no threat. No direct threat, you know. Maybe some kind of bizarre Bishop G4, some weird stuff. So he had to move his queen again. Well, Bob, I mean, Astrobate, like, it's possible he played a candidates match for you know, something in the world, but I don't think his rating was like fourth in the world. I'm talking about by rating, you know, by FIDE ELO. I don't know what that means exactly. I just really can't believe that there's any way in the world that Spielman was rated fourth in the world. I mean, I was definitely playing chess in 1989. Wow, Mr. Slowhand, thank you. 2,500 bits. Huge donation, guys. We're going back to Hungary in 3 weeks. But I'm not gonna close this thread because it's getting boring. Astrobate. Don't keep going there. Wrong or right, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. It's just distracting from the stream. So arguing about who was fourth in the world, I don't give a crap. Queen G6, moving the queen again. Knight G3, Knight H5, Knight H5, Queen H5, Knight D1. White is worse because White has backwardness along the F file. See, this is the difference at the end of the day why Nefedov's opening is good and White's isn't good. White's D file is really like toothless. The pressure along, you know, compare the half open files here. I mean, this is absolutely relatively useless, whereas Black's pressure along the half open file is just good with real threats. And H3 didn't do anything, it just made White's position worse. So I think that Nefedov will probably give him a draw at some point after achieving a dominant position. That's going to be, I haven't seen the result of the game. My guess is that Nefedov offers or accepts a draw from a position of strength. Bishop G5, C3. Knight had nowhere to go. This looks good. Here's an interesting question. Here. I think queen g5 looks good. Does block the g pawn if you had any king's Indian attack ideas. Nefedov. Oh man. I don't think you should trade queens here, dude. Probably time plays a factor. This is an over-the-board simul. I don't know if it was a clock simul. I just don't think that Pavel should trade queens here, especially against an endgame expert. You know? Black seems to have the initiative. And after trading queens, I think the pawn actually on e3 isn't that bad. I mean, there will be issues with this pawn. Admittedly, Nefedov is still slightly better in this endgame, but it seems like it's going to be a little tricky to really put pressure on the pawn. Particularly the knight is going to have to go back to g8 and probably to f6 to be relevant again. So I think that objectively you shouldn't trade queens here. So this is a draw. I mean, Spielman knows he's worse. So queen takes e3. You have a lot of different moves. I mean, maybe just queen h4. Then I guess knight f3, then queen h5, then bishop e2. You know, maybe he can kind of make you backtrack. I wonder in retrospect the last queen move. Here, here, here. So Nefedov avoided the queen exchange here. Perhaps h6. You would have run into the same problem though. I mean, like, dude, you could play g5 probably. Let me just see this. It gets kind of tricky on g5, knight f3, rook f4, g3. No, then it's just you got to sacrifice a rook, but very strong for black. If you really want to, you can definitely avoid the exchange of queens. But he is playing a grandmaster. It's an over-the-board simul, so it's a credible result. But I think that Nefedov knows he's better here. He is playing a legendary endgame expert, but still, this pawn looks pretty juicy. It's going to be hard to win against a really good endgame player. I was actually thinking about knight g8. Because if you look at the position, I mean, how can you put pressure on that e4 pawn? The knight has a bad path. Is that the best move? It is one of the better moves according to the engine. The drawback of knight g8 is that it would block your own play along the f file. So Dempsey Hooligan, queen h4 instead of queen h6. Anytime you play queen h4, white's going to have knight f3. It's going to get kind of complicated. Anyway, I don't know when it was played. I'm assuming it's recent. It says September. No, wait. This is British time. How do you guys do the time there? Is that... Because I'm used to Hungary is like, you know, the day first and then the month. And the United States is month first and the day. So, this was played in 1989. Nefedov was playing for the... Nefedov was the 5th highest rated player in the world in 1989. So this wasn't a bad draw. All right, guys. I mean, I could be wrong, you know, about that whole rating thing, but I'm not going to argue about it. I'd be very surprised. Very surprised, you know, really. Anyway, let's just concentrate on chess. Thank you to Mr. Slowhand Grind for the 2,500 bit donation. 2,500 bit donation from Mr. Slowhand. October the 17th. Day, month, year in France. It's day, month, year in Hungary. It's month, day, year here in the United States. So I'm assuming this was just played the 9th of... Nefedov gets out to a lot of simuls. But it's funny how number 1 is the most recent one. He must have put them in reverse order. All right. We expected Nefedov to be better, and Nefedov to offer a draw. Pretty much. Mr. Slowhand is up now. He just made a huge donation, 2,500 bits. The Pearl, I don't understand, Merle, the Pearl thing. I don't know what that's about. No comment, no clue. Just rhymes. It rhymes. He's a rapper. His real job is rapping. Okay, Mr. Slowhand. Merle the rapper. Game for Thursday subscriber stream. It was a tough battle. Maybe I said that, Merle the Pearl. I don't know. You know, maybe I've said it when we were playing, like as a joke or something. It sounds like something stupid I would say when I'm just thinking of things to say during a stream or something like that. It was probably me who made it up. Pearls. Tough battle in a complicated King's Indian. While only living on the 30 seconds per move increment, short after move 22, I think. I blew the whole thing up. Yeah, you can live indefinitely with 30-second increment. I flagged in a tournament game in Hungary a couple of years ago, but it was because it was like an impossible study-like position where I had to find like the only move. If you have a study-like position where you have to find the only move, it's going to be a problem, you know, being on your 30-second increment. But other than that, it's basically like you can kind of go on forever. You just can't get into a position where you need to find a study-like move, because then you're like screwed, you know. That's all. PSG, I guess you just have to, thanks for subscribing, by the way, I guess you just have to kind of write those you know, disconnection losses off as the price of playing online chess. Like, dude, you know how many times I was playing 20 poker tables at the same time, and I had like hundreds and maybe even $1,000 like sitting on the internet, like while I was playing online poker and getting disconnected. You know, in most cases I could save most of my money by like getting my like mobile internet like up. But I mean, you know, in many cases I lost like hundreds of dollars while I was getting disconnected playing poker. But it's kind of like it's like a business. It's the cost of doing business, you know. I had mobile internet in addition to my regular internet, so when my internet went down, I could usually get the mobile internet up, but sometimes there were problems, and I would lose large amounts of money. But anyway, PSG Soccer Rook, just part of. I don't trust online poker anymore. I used to trust it very much, but it's a different atmosphere now than it was 5 or 10 years ago. So Aim High Soldier, I don't trust online poker anymore. I quit playing online basically in like 2016, and I haven't really ever seriously played since that point because I didn't trust it. But I'm not gonna go on record as a, you know, online poker is rigged guy. I think it's suspicious, but I don't know. But as I said, it's hard. At least in online chess, you don't have money like hemorrhaging, you know, from your game. All right, game for Thursday subscriber stream. So let's check it out. There's nothing worse than that feeling, not being able to reconnect to the internet. It's like $1,000 just sitting there. Mr. Slow Hand Grind. Okay, so he's black here. D4, G6. So 90 minutes. This is standard FIDE time control now. This 90 minutes for the whole game, 30 seconds per move. For move 1. I don't like it. I think it's much better when it's 90 minutes plus another 30 minutes. For me, it's getting too fast, and games are getting worse because people don't have enough time. the quality of endgames at the master level is going down. I think and honestly, like, it depends on the format of the tournament, but I mean, really, 40 moves in 90 minutes plus the rest of the game in 30 minutes plus the increment is really it's not a ridiculous amount of time. It's over in 5 hours. Like, there's no reason to make the game 90 with a 30-second increment. It's just too fast. I think it diminishes the quality of the games, but that's just my opinion. Knight f6, King's Indian, so h3. Alright, so h3. The Makaganov variation is very popular. It's also statistically number 1. I guess typically played on the next move, right? h3 here, a little early. We usually see knight f3, castles, and then h3. But h3 right away is good too. I mean, I don't think there's any problem with h3 right away. Different approaches here. Most of the time you're going to castle. I remember there was a game I saw Jay Bonin once play, Grigory Serper or someone, where he tried to play c5 real early, like here, c5, d5, b5. You could try to think about making it a Benko. I'm just wondering how bad this is. Play in Benko style. I'm not really sure. It's so weird because h3 doesn't really exist in the Benko as an independent variation. I'm not sure. Yeah, Infinite Flash Chess. Is he an expert? So c5 is an option, but I think most people would say, you just play e6. You just turn it into a normal Benoni. We're just gonna transpose to a Benoni. It's interesting. Mainline Benoni. It's up to you. I feel like maybe I don't feel that comfortable with the closed lines against h3. It's really hard to play. But here, there's all different setups, right? Like bishop e3, knight f3, bishop g5. This is probably the one I know the least about. Bishop g5 here. I don't know if I've ever faced this move over the board. It obviously discourages e5. I mean, almost any variation where you play the King's Indian for black and white plays bishop g5, e5 is no good. But it does, on the other hand, it's encouraging the Benoni. Like, I feel like this is making the Benoni great again. Yes, similar to the Averbach. In the same way, I mean, c5 becomes a better move. How much luxury does white have time for? Bishop g5, h3. Should be a decent Benoni for black after c5. So, Mr. Slowhand, c5 is definitely a good move. It feels like the safest way to play. But you have to be willing to play a Benoni, which is normal for King's Indian players. Anything with bishop g5. I think the bigger questions come when white plays these type of lines. What are you going to choose here? For me, this is a bigger difficulty. Am I going to play e5? I think these are the hardest positions to play. This sort of Bakaganov-Petrosian hybrid. It's really tricky. I don't think this is fun for black. In a recent game, I had a game where I played online, and I guess I did like c6. I tried to play somebody here on the stream with c6, a6, and b5. That's Soltis. Andy Soltis recommended trying this. I think that the white players don't encounter these setups as much. Maybe a6 is also interesting, because you could even do c5. c5 or c6, you keep white guessing with a6, but it's less committal. But bishop g5 is a specific variation, and I think that c5 seems kind of like obligatory now. You might be able to do something weird like here, but probably not good. I mean, I don't know. Maybe knight c6 is possible here. I'm not really sure. Putting pressure on d4, but I mean c5 is definitely normal. So instead, he plays h6. I'm concerned that h6 isn't good because of bishop e3. The same variation exists in the Averbach, and that's how I lost. I had 2 games with Sam Palatnik in this position. In the Averbach, bishop e2, castles. My famous playing the same grandmaster in the same tournament 2 games was this position. Bishop e3, bishop here. I mean, I played this pawn sack c5 twice against Palatnik, and I lost the first game, and I drew the second one. But this is very similar in spirit, you know, to this, except it's h3, castles, bishop g5, h6, and then bishop e3. So the question becomes, is h6, is this gambit playable here? But James, I don't understand why you're saying that. Like, what's your point? To draw attention to another stream, or? I'm glad that you're watching our stream. Yeah, we'll all go check it out. Awesome. So, bishop g5. Yeah, I mean, I feel like h6 is a little weakening. So I would just go with the c5 right away. And this has got to be critical. If takes, queen a5, no problem. This looks fine. Yeah, I would think like a grandmaster playing some random player is not necessarily instructive. H6, bullet probably. So h6 now. Can we do this anyway? c5. There's some school of thought that might say the bishop's actually better placed on e3 than on g5. But again, you could also do the c6 kind of a6 type of setup here. I think this is interesting as well. And on top of that, you also have the option to do knight a6, where the plan, I guess the plan isn't to play c5 so much as it is to try to find a position where you can actually play e5 without walking into some kind of tactical tricks. Because c7 will be protected, you know, it's not as bad as playing e5 right away. Like e5 right away, I assume this just like loses out of hand or something. What's the deal? Just hypothetically, what happens if you play e5 right away? The standard take, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, knight d5. This is ridiculous. Knight on bd7, Yuri Shulman. White scored 1 point out of 3 in this position, where like he just wins a pawn. That's ridiculous, right? Can you imagine White scoring 1 point out of 3 here? That's a hot variation. Anyway, let's see what he did. So h6, bishop e3, c5, d5, e6. So the problem is h6 for black. It's an unnecessary weakening of black's position. I played the exact same position in the Averbach, and it's also a liability there. There's a question about how much of a liability it is. You know, so my recommendation to you is to probably not play h6 and play c5. instead. But we'll see. Bishop d3, ed5, so here Mihai Marin did a New in Chess yearbook article like 10 years ago. The Romanian Grandmaster Marin did this very good article on the Benoni for white with bishop d3 and h3 and bishop g5. Like, he basically, it's a system that's not really that well defined. Normally bishop d3, knight f3, h3, and bishop comes out later. But anyway, this looks like you're going into the Marin variation here, for lack of a better name. White can play c takes d. So I don't know. I would reference that article from 10 or 12 years ago. It's a heavy, big piece of analysis he did on these lines. So in the Averbach, you have to take back with the e-pawn, as far as I recall. It's just way less good for white because the bishop's on e2. But the bishop on d3 is a better, better position piece here. But here you have the option to play cd. See, if the bishop was on e2 in the Averbach, you couldn't really play cd because your e4 pawn isn't protected enough. So this is a viable option for white here that he doesn't have in Averbach type positions. Well, as Uber Driver pointed out, yeah, maybe b5, I don't know. I don't know anything about this. This variation, you can look up Marin's analysis in that old. It looks like this is not so great for. Well, I don't know. Check it out. I don't remember. I never played bishop g5. I just remember this existing. But his opponent instead played ed5, which is fine for white too. Now you've got the classic exchange sacrifice. Once the international master Ron Burnett did this against me. I was white against Ronald. I don't remember what the opening was. It was some kind of modern but he just did it. Like, he just did rook takes e3. I've also seen Morozevich do it in a very similar position. Looks like nice looking Giri. I need glasses. Knight f3. I mean, I think you could probably do this and argue that black has some kind of realistic compensation. It's not that bad. Like, I don't really like the fact that we played h6 again, because it takes away bishop h6, and g6 isn't as well protected. White's advantage is falling down, though, the more, it looks at this. It's not necessary now. It's just the principle of the thing, that a lot of people wouldn't even realize this is a playable move. It's actually playable. It's only 1.2 better for white, which is a fairly small advantage. Damn, dude. All right, so it's a big deal, It's a big deal. This is an incredibly important positional exchange sacrifice that you don't see every day. The fact that this is playable and white is only like one pawn better is important. The concept is critical. You might not get another chance to do that. If white plays queen d2, it's gone. Like, there's no more doing rook takes e3. This is literally the last chance to do that sacrifice, probably. You might not get another chance. So knight a6, castles. My friend Jose Gonzalez Garcia has a game here with white. Really good player with the white pieces. He beat me too in a King's Indian. Jose beat me with, what was it? I'm wondering if it was an h3. Can't remember now. Okay, so knight d7, a4. Black's position is a little passive. It's principled though, you know, to go back to a6. It's reasonable. You're going into b4. So you're following this game that Jose had in 2007. He lives in Barcelona, I think. Queen d2, knight b4, bishop b1, king h7, rook a3. Guys, you know, this is a standard Benoni idea, but I don't think it's appropriate here. Like, we don't have a lot of clearance for this rook now. I mean, there's a knight on c3, a bishop on e3, and a knight on f3. I really don't think this is the moment for rook a3. Great idea, you know. He's just trying to force this like theme that's cool but not relevant here. So White's got to have a more constructive move. Anything like rook e1. I mean, this is a game. Okay. What did Jose play? He played bishop f4, also a constructive move, putting pressure on d3. Actually, I remember, now that I think about it, it's funny. Jose had a game with Weedmaster at the New York Open, going back to like 1991 or 1992. Jose against Weedmaster. It was a draw, I think. Weedmaster was black in a King's Indian position just like this because it was symmetrical. Yeah, the Pandacam. Yeah, Joe did something similar. He gave Jose that symmetrical structure, was black in a King's Indian Benoni position. But White's bishops look really good here. Yeah. Alright guys, rook a3. Yeah, the Pandacam. b6, bishop f4, a6. You got rook a7, the classic Benoni resource. Astrobate should learn from this. I call it, sometimes it's a cam, sometimes it's a still. Thank you, Mr. Coffee. Yeah, it's not the greatest camera in the world. I don't think the camera is the problem. It's the USB port that it's on. I have some issues with my USB ports. Kendall, Ken is, you know, Ken has a new home. HTFP. Ken was a mere, you know, visitor on the highway of life. It wasn't a Ken doll, dude. It was the $6 million man. And I mean, I'm into bronies, but I don't do Barbie and Ken. Okay, let's just draw the line where it is in the sand. Don't make jokes. I'm not into Barbies. Okay. Ponies are all right. It was Oscar Goldman and a $6 million man. All right. It was a cool action series when I was a kid. And it's not related to a Ken doll. Master Fugu is here. He's hanging out with us. So G4. I was just talking to Arsenal fan about this. I would not play that move with White. That looks very, very... Yeah, Lee Majors, exactly. G4 is... really risky move for White, I would say. Rook a7, King h2. This was a great game. This was a really great game by both players. The only move I don't like from either side is like rook a3. It's looking like it might almost, you know, might get lucky and it comes in. The play by both sides is really good here. It's like a correspondence game or something. Christ. Who is this guy with White? He seems really good. I mean, G4 is a little risky, but it looks okay in retrospect. I don't understand what those comments are about. Queen d7 and the relevance to what we're doing here. Okay, Queen d7. I kind of like this, but we've got a problem with the bishop, obviously. Bishop's a little restricted. You don't understand why black is better. Dude, it's a computer evaluation. It's calculating 29 moves deep, man. You don't have to understand that. The important thing is that you're comfortable with the position that you have. The argument is that white, if you want to rationalize why black might be better here, it would be that white is slightly overextended due to c4, d5, g4, h3. White has taken more space with the pawns, and possible that he's slightly overextended. All right. White is really going for it here. Lots of pressure. Nice trick. Dude, the exchange sacrifice. I thought we'd never get another chance. It's still interesting now. I'm a little concerned about knight f5 coming in at some point. It's the Jolly Joker bishop. This might be okay for black. Let's see. Peter doesn't like it. The pewter. Pewter doesn't like it. Not enough. But I'm not sure what to do objectively. Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing? What's Wade's performance in this game, by the way? Statistically, according to the engine. Damn, White seems really strong. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, how strong is this guy? What is his ELO rating? I mean, he's just he has one thing. He goes forward. He's never had to make a retreating move the entire game. It's like playing the immovable object. I mean, that if it was online, I'd think he was like an engine or something. Damn. Yeah, that's a rough opponent to face. I mean, he seems really, really strong. Kind of systematic, space-oriented player. Very difficult to play against. I have a friend who plays like that. It's nasty when he gets a hold of you. So, takes, and it's just, it's over. This is not good. Like a desperation sacrifice. Yeah, not enough material. Man. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to suggest. What? My engine is recommending knight e4. That is a crazy move. How does that even work? Knight e4, rook e4, bishop e4, and rook e4. Holy. Threatening rook takes f4. That is insane. Because c4 is hanging. If we could get a pawn for it, Usually it's the other. It's funny. I've been looking at all those exchange sacrifices with rook e3. Ironically, this rook is going to get in the game. This computer found it. I wasn't even looking for this exchange sacrifice because that's usually the bad bishop. Wow. We don't even get a pawn for it, but we have a double threat. Yeah, g5. It's funny though, the knight on b4 prevents him from having any kind of queen c2, queen d3 to skewer your rook to your king. So you're like super safe on the white squares. That's kind of amazing. So you have double threat, rook takes a triple threat. Rook c4, rook f4, and g5. Obviously that would be extremely hard to find in time pressure. I'd never seen that type of exchange sack before. Crazy game. Yeah, so you just collapsed. But I mean, the guy did play really well. You know, so the only flaw in his position is this difficult to find exchange sacrifice. It actually doesn't do anything. He can move the queen away, as the engine suggested here. It looks like knight takes f2 though. Yeah. Though that does something. Now the knight is trapped. Tal would have a field day, right? Misha playing the Benoni. Man, this is, I don't know. You got to be like Igor Kovalenko or Tal. I think to play this you have to be Latvian. I don't know. Yeah, knight e4 is an insane move. I wouldn't have found it. I don't think so. I've never sacked an exchange. I've never seen that theme before. But I think a really experienced Benoni player might. I mean, going knight e4 is usually an idea when there's like a bishop on f5 or something like that, or a pawn on f5. All right, let's move on, guys, because we got a limited amount of time left. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 games more. All right. Thank you, Mr. Slowhand, for the donation, 2,500. I mean, that was a good opponent, though. You know, to exploit him, you were only going to have that impossible exchange sacrifice to find. This position is murky. At the end of the day, you're down. I mean, you're up a pawn, but like all of his pieces are really scary. You know, he's so active here. Kasparov, yeah, or Carlsen would definitely see it, especially Kasparov. You know, a player who thrived on dynamism. But I think a lot of grandmasters might, just like I did, miss this outright. You know, it just looks like, why would you want to like let him trade off, you know, this typically bad bishop on b1? Cool game. Lucky for white, you know, that you didn't find it. Naj Papa. But again, like, I think that my suggestion to you, you know, Mr. Slowhand, would be not to play h6. You know, try playing c5 without doing h6 at all. You know, it's probably a little bit of a better line without that weakening of the king side. And that's coming from someone who plays the h6, c5 against the Averbach. I ran into problems with that myself in the Averbach. Okay, Naj Papa, here's my submission for analysis stream on Thursday. Game against Eric. All right, we got it. So Naj Papa is black here. Right. Well, I mean, the g5 fork is clearly in the air, you know, so that makes you start thinking, you know, like Born Filthy says. That's enough to make you start thinking, like, hey, all I have to do is like be able to play g5 somehow. How can I make g5 work? If you engineer, you know, you can reverse engineer that idea. Uber driver, what you're referring to at the h6 pawn, it is common in like the same-ish. Another line that I play with white and with black is the f3 same-ish King's Indian. Where, yeah, I mean, the pawn on h6 is sometimes sacrificed, but oftentimes in those lines, like, there are problems with f3. Queen h4 check is sometimes connected to. I had a game with Jay Bonin like that, where he sacked the h6 pawn, and black has like compensation. There are variations where you do try to sacrifice the h6. Jay was able to do it successfully to make a draw against me. Okay, so Naj Papa's black here. the French defense, Tarish variation with 92, and then knight f6. You know, I don't know what to recommend. I mean, personally, I think c5 is underrated. You know, I mean, if I were really a French player at a high level, you see, Caruana is like the only French player at the top level. It seems like, you know, Rajabov, sort of close. Who else plays the French guys besides Caruana? I mean, I think that c5. You see, the thing is that people are too biased against isolated pawns, like Bornfilty says. It's not their type of position. I think in general, too many players are taught like isolated pawns are you know, it's a dirty word. Isolated pawns they're like, it's bad. You know, it's not true. I mean, the isolated pawn is a critical sort of structure to learn to play. I think this is probably Black's best attempt to equalize against the Tarrasch, you know. Objectively, maybe not the best winning attempt, but definitely the Korchnoi Gambit. Yeah. Yeah, I played that in Blitz. I've never played the Tarrasch in a tournament game. I only play e4 in a limited number of games, and I've played knight c3 against the French in the few over the board games that I've played. But that so-called Korchnoi Gambit against the French and the Tarrasch is a good line. It's pretty well known. Morozevich, right? But Morozevich, like me, is old news, man. So at the current level, it's Caruana. But anyway, okay, so he's playing knight f6, e5. And when I say c5, by the way, guys, I just want to clarify. I'm talking about taking with the pawn. Because John Watson and many players like to take with the queen. I mean, Watson recommends this in Play the French, his newer versions, I guess. This is fine, you know, but for me, it's like basically a Sicilian. This is fine too. It's just that it's really more like a Sicilian than it is a French. I think the best way to equalize is to go full on Botvinnik style. You know, as long as you're not playing Anatoly Karpov, I think that Black should be all right here. You know, if you're frustrated, if you're a French player and you're having a hard time against knight d2, I really think this is the most principled way to play. Yes, it's kind of tedious. You have an isolated pawn. But I think that Black is all right, you know, and you need to just learn how to play that kind of position. What's up, Anita? Right. No, Aim High Soldier has a point. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people play. Right. This is the fashionable way to play with white now. Knight f3. Good point. So life isn't that simple, but I think you just play like knight c6, right? I mean, we're going to transpose. This is transposing, you know, ed. And I don't know about like bishop e5. This could get kind of weird, I guess. I would look into it. Tal Korchnoi, 1971. That's amazing. That's still the top game. Crazy. You got some good names there. Korchnoi, Sahis, Yusupov, and Vaganyan. Probably some of the best French players. Powerful board divider. Yeah, I mean, central pawns are underrated, I think. But let's take a look at what he does. So he plays knight f6, e5, knight d7, knight f3. Yeah, I mean, knight f3 is like, what are you doing? Knight f3. I like f4. F4 is fun, but it's really, you know, dicey for white. This line with c3 and knight c6 and knight on knight on df3, where you like walk your king out to g3. This is fun for blitz, but objectively, like Mule Skinner, I've had some games with him. It's dangerous for both sides. You know, it leads to very, very complicated play. I don't know about a5, Warnacki, but it might be an idea later on. But this just seems kind of lame. All right, he's going to play knight on gf3. Yeah, what is this? It just seems lame for white. All right, so Uber Driver is saying knight f3 can lead to a gambit, right? Okay, let's see, c5, c3, right. Okay, so we're transposing back to the so-called Korchnoi gambit. Yeah, that's what white's going to try to do here. Okay. Yeah, this is the Korchnoi gambit, right? Some questions about move order. I'm not that expert. Yeah, Uber Driver, I've played that. You know, I mean, I've got games against. I've had games on the stream with white in this line. With, can't remember who it was. Several games with white, actually. Wow, we got Mr. Slowhand another 1,000 bits. You missed my winning position. This dude after the queen sack. The same thing happened with Mule Skinner last week. I'm supposed to show something that Mule Skinner, after this game, I'm supposed to show Mule Skinner's move that I left out from last week. Like, I assume the game is over. I'll go back and check it. I've got to remember to do Mule Skinner's game from last week, too. Thanks for another 1,000 bits. All right, so Warnacki. Yeah, A5 is bad. I don't think this can be a good move. Sorry, Warnacki. It's not the worst move in the world, you know, and it's playable and all that, but I think it's just not, I don't know. It's just not principled. We do have several GMs playing it. So it's not the worst move in the world. Queen b6 seems dangerous, you know, accepting this pawn sacrifice. But again, this goes back a long time. Like, speaking of Soltis, he also references this. Knight f3, you know, queen b6, queen a4, queen b4, queen c2. You know, it goes on and on and on. And I don't know what the final analysis is. But this move f6 here, yeah, that seems to be the main line. I know nothing about this, literally. Look, this is a move, knight g5. Oh my god. I have no clue what's going on. I would consult, you know, Hutch Papa, I would consult John Watson. I don't know if you've got like Watson's book on the French. That seems like essential reading. There must be more modern books, though. I mean, Sahis probably did a French book. Who else has French books? Who are the top players who've written books on the French? A5 just looks a little out there. It does have a good score, though, in 14 games. Uber Driver, you're dating yourself. Yeah. Maybe Ullman, is Ullman still alive? He's still alive. You can get him to autograph it. Maybe get Botvinnik on the case, dude. Get Botvinnik on the case. We'll get Botvinnik to sign it from the grave. I don't know if he ever wrote a book on the French, though. He should have, if he didn't. So the schedule will be changing. The schedule will be changing, guys. In 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm going back to Budapest. So just to give you a heads up, the stream will be down. There will be no stream between the 3rd and the 9th. So the week from the 3rd to the 9th of November, there will be a week off where we will pause to change continents. We'll have better continents from Europe. Okay, A5. I'm moving back to Budapest. And then A4. Glazirov, an expert in the Stonewall and French. Okay, there's some principle to this. You know, it's really extreme. Yeah, this is a weird move, bishop e5. I would expect rook e1. Maybe even a3. Guess he stopped queen a4. This move is kind of strange. Principled. Yeah, this knight is sort of sad. He's sad that he can't go anywhere. So he picks off the central pawn. An improved Korchnoi gambit, maybe. Angry Dragon, thank you. The Wi-Fi is better in Budapest. No, actually, Acerbate, I'm supposed to have wired internet, you know. I'm supposed to have wired internet here too. But in Budapest, I really have wired internet that actually works. I don't like relying on Wi-Fi. And just so you know, it's called Wi-Fi in Hungary. My Wi-Fi is not really relevant. Bishop d7, knight d4. So this is just an awful, awful position for white. Like, he has no compensation for the loss of his center. Black has the bishop pair. It's just completely, is a fail. Just a total fail for white. Queen looks a bit funny out there, though. It has this retreat, though. That's nice. You know, you can always get back. Odd placement for the queen. Feels like the second time we've seen this today. Nefedov had a game against Spielman in the Simon where he allowed the trade of queens. Here, white should avoid the trade of queens because he's down a pawn in an endgame. You know, I don't know, it's ugly, but probably white should play like queen d1. If by some chance he's able to, say, trade off big, I want to call him Big Poppy. Big Poppy, you know. If Big Poppy, if he can trade off Big Poppy's bishop pair here, I mean, what's the second pawn anyway? You know, rook takes a2. Doesn't matter. He can't trade queens. Yeah, no, the Yankees are playing the Astros. Shit. The game's probably starting. What time does it start? I gotta see the Yankees lose. Yeah, they canceled the game yesterday because of the bomb. I mean, my yard is covered in trees, basically. We had a bomb cyclone that hit the whole Northeast, and we had 24 hours of like 50-mile-an-hour winds. So my yard is covered in shit, basically. It's covered in pieces of trees. Dude, I lived for 15 years in Boston, Jim. You need to know it's like one of the biggest rivalries in sports in the United States. D takes c4, bishop e3. This is the perfect plan, trying to trade the bishops. Take. Bishop c6. Knight d4, bishop d5, knight b5 here. This is a bad idea. If possible, Naj Papi, you should play like king e7. You know, if we can do that, I think our king is going to be important in the endgame. Let's see what we can do. Best move. Castles is a close second. Actually, the engine is liking castles better now. I don't really understand like what the problem with king e7 is. I mean, this is a very important move, guys. When you're transitioning to the endgame, Naj Papa understands. Yeah, I mean, the king, you know, it's an endgame. It's safe. It's safe. It's only one pawn and it's an endgame, and Wei has a pretty good blockade here on the dark squares, and this doesn't look easy to win because you have now you've played f6, now you have a broken structure. I was thinking you're up a pawn. It's so crazy. I was literally thinking that white is down a pawn, but it's actually even material. So at this point, I'm a little concerned that black could even be slightly worse. You're basically shut down along the f file. You have a worse pawn structure. You're actually fighting for a draw here. I like this move, though. This shows spirit. This was a cool idea. Notch Papa found a way to make this work. He got his minority attack cranking, you know, and that's cool. WJ Loof, you were working out in the storm yesterday? In the Bomba cyclone? H3, H5, as is pointed out here. I mean, rook E5 is a move, but black has rook G6. Inspections. Don't talk to me about inspections. Okay, I don't like inspectors anymore. Rook E5, rook G6, king H2, G4. Classic minority attack. There's some problems here for white. The knight is just like the missing link out there. Oh man. Okay, so super pass pawn. What about G4? Can we do that? Could that possibly work? G4, F2, rook F1. Like this looks like it should be lost for white. But you need a way to get in there on the white squares. Does it work? Does it work? Maybe not, because your knight, oh, it's conveniently defended. Conveniently defended by the rook on H5. It doesn't matter though, this just wins the exchange. Well, let's keep looking. Let's keep looking. I mean, this isn't that clear. You know, maybe somehow white is okay. Very difficult to communicate with our rook, to get our rook to deliver the death blow. Not that simple. Computer thinks that black is winning though. Confident in that extra exchange and that pawn on the 7th rank here. All right, let's see what happens. So, but he just allowed you to crush him with this. And now it's just wide open. Rook takes, actually. Dude, isn't that just game over? Rook takes F3, threatening rook F2 check. Mate. White resigned after bishop takes F3. I just hate interfering with ourselves. I guess white could sack an exchange. How is he defending after this? I don't know how he defends after bishop takes, but this actually looks really scary. Maybe like either move wins, it looks like. Let's see. Either move wins, but Big Poppy's bishop takes F3 is favored by the computer. It's strange, but it's attacking a rook. So, pretty nasty double threat. All right, well, I think that white played badly the second half of, well, actually, most of the game. But there's no way he should have ever had a chance after he won that pawn. I mean, you're never actually up a pawn, right? I mean, after queen d4, I had this fake mentality that you're up a pawn here. My problem is that I was believing that white was down a pawn because his position was strategically so much worse. Yeah, maybe you were never completely winning. But this is a huge mistake, you know, in my opinion. King e7. Yeah, apparently a5 has been played before. Okay, guys, thanks for the game. Mule Skinner is up next. Actually, first I want to take a look at just where I left off with the last game. I forgot about Mr. Slowhand's final end of the game, where I thought it was just like beyond hope. I want to show you guys the end where he actually lost his queen. So he's down a queen here. He's objectively down a queen. He's down a queen, but he has 2 pieces for the queen, you know, so it's not beyond hope, right? You've got 2 pieces for a queen. Yeah, transitioning to endgames is super important, Notch Papa. Um, Keeping that kind of king move in mind is a good reason to like delay castling altogether. In many cases, just having that possibility available to you, you know, because you didn't castle, is a huge benefit to black. But all right, so this I just like left the game here because I thought black was over. But white just let his guard down. Let your guard down, guys. I told you about this rook, right? That was the one move in this game that I thought was weird. This player who's like a 2200 FIDE, who's played really well, he has a little bit of a kind of obsession with rook a3 apparently. You know, kind of like you get hung up on certain ideas. And like Warnacki with a5. Apparently this guy tries to play rook a3 every kind of chance he gets in the Benoni, but you know, as you can see, this rook is not really primed for mobility along the third rank. So yeah, obsession with rook a3. This move leaves that square e4 open. I think that white just kind of like, I can do whatever I want. I'm up a queen, you know. Clearly that's not the case. The computer pointed out that rook e4 move again. Bishop e4 very tempting, right? Easily the most tempting move. Now Asterbait would definitely play, I would probably play bishop e5, try to provoke white into weakening himself, but f4 still just shuts it down. So what to try here? We have knight c2. That's the game. Here. And it's like panic mode. I was talking to Asterbait today about material, right? Sometimes people are not materialistic enough. Little kids, when they count the pieces, it's funny to see 4-year-old kids playing in tournaments because all they care about is the material. You ever see like a scholastic tournament where absolute beginner little kids start playing? All they do is sit there. They don't even pay attention to what's happening on the board. They're like stacking the pieces on the side of the board and paying attention to how many they have and stuff. But this is like, okay, why is white winning? Because he's up material, and he just like gives it back with rook g7. So this was a serious, generous like donation back to black. Black already had 2 pieces for a queen, and you know, so you got 2 pieces for a queen, and now you get the exchange back. You're in business. Just totally unnecessary sacrifice. He wanted to justify his stupid rook a3, I guess. So knight f5, rook takes b6, and then the Blobix. He missed the Blobix. This is just the computer. Apparently black's just winning. Beautiful. I mean, rook g8 is just murderous. There's nothing that white can do against rook g8. I mean, add to that the knight f3 check, and it's over. So Argy, I'm sorry. Yeah, too much trying to justify rook a3. Luckily he was generous, and so you did this, he takes, you take. Now you've got a rook and a piece. Threats against the king. I mean, that's pretty significant compensation for a queen. This is, wow. I mean, king g3 is not a move you want to play. Is there any other option? Yes, but I don't know what it is. I mean, you've got to move the king or the queen. Simple as that. Queen f4, knight f3 check. I mean, I guess queen f4 again, rook g8. Looks very hard to deal with that. Queen f4, rook g8. He can't even play rook b3, sadly, to try to give back the rook here. I mean, I don't know. It's just over. It's just over, you know. That's nice. Coordination. Yeah, I'm not sure about rook e5 now. Rook b3 and move earlier? Ah, Bob. Yeah. I don't know. we got to move on. So I just want to show how he wins. Here, here, and then this is a bit awkward because this is a slight problem. Easy to drop the mate in one there. I can't believe this was like a real game. Wow. 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 Now I assume that white is winning here. But it looks like black was winning before. Right? So as we went back, I mean obviously knight h4. Yeah, it's crazy long. I know. Bob, talk about some troll stuff. Unicorn Ale. Gita B. That was Gita B is Jim's 25th subscriber. Number 25. How are you doing? Alright guys, I'm gonna leave this game. It was a mess. I'm not sure, Bob. I'm a little bit tired. I don't know what I'm asking for. Alright, so I've really got to catch up. We got Mule Skinner, Astrobate, and Bob's getting impatient because he's the last game. He's getting nervous. Now I understand what's going on. Mule Skinner, last week you left my submitted game just before the move that made me submit the game. If time, take a quick look at White's move, Queen takes f7, which was a textbook blunder. Sorry, I did the exact same thing I did. I did the exact same thing I did just now. You know, I just assumed the game was over when we reached like a totally winning position because I'm trying to hurry it along, you know. And so we got to this position. I was like, okay, it's over. And I just stopped, you know, thinking, oh, it's over. But the whole point was that there was a stalemate here. The entire freaking point of Mule Skinner submitting this game was the stalemate, you know, after rook f7, queen f7. Obviously black misses like the desperado stalemate theme. To give your rook away in every moment. Defense, check, check. You know, and finally, check. Slight problem. Nothing more satisfying than like a stalemate draw, you know, I mean, I have to say. So that's really my bad. I forgot, you know, that stalemates exist. I couldn't imagine that was your reason for submitting the game, you know, there was a stalemate thing at the end. So you gotta always keep your guard up for stalemates. But fortunately for Mule Skinner, his opponent didn't see it, which is sick. I mean, how often do you get a chance to exploit like a stalemate situation like that? You know, that's just beautiful. Anyway, so Mule Skinner just wanted me to mention that. You guys, I want to get back to Mule Skinner's submission here for this week. So we're running out of time, guys. We have 20 minutes left. I've got 3 more games to do. Mule Skinner game number 2 against Tarzan. Okay. Mule Skinner versus Tarzan, e4. It's a Lithuanian Tarzan. It's Tarzatanas. He's white against g6, d4, bishop g7, knight f3, d6, bishop c4. I mean, I don't really like this stuff. I've played the modern against Mule Skinner. This whole setup looks a little bit hokey to me, but whatever. He likes closed setups, and he's trying to do some sort of closed type of formation. Nefedov, you also like this, don't you? PG, you know, Soccer Rook would do like a double fianchetto hippo here. I mean, I would think Astrobate's next, Jim. We've got Astrobate and Bob remaining, rounding out the night. I would think a6 or any sort of hippo here. Kramnik Carlson. Astrobate was late this week. So anyway, all right, we'll see the game. So knight f6, knight c3, you know, castles, and now he's threatening knight takes e4. And this move, I just think this just equalizes for black. You know, I can't condone allowing that, Mule Skinner. You know, you're just giving your opponent equality on a silver platter, I think. Do not do this again. Dubov Andreikin. Dubov actually did this and lost. Wow. Dubov did it and Vityugov did it. That's funny. The Dubov lost like this with white against Andreikin, then turned around and played it with black against Vityugov. That's just, I don't understand. I mean, this is like standard Peart stuff. Like, you just don't let that fork happen. I think one of the more interesting lines for white, you know, in the Pearts is the old knight c3. You know, this isn't a Pearts, right? But if it was, say, you know, we could transpose to a Pearts these lines with queen e2. So we're capturing with the queen on e4, you know, going back to the John Nunn late 80s theory. But it's kind of weird for me. Like, I don't understand. So black plays this here, castle, bishop g4. I guess this is okay, you know, but I don't understand why you would prefer that to knight takes e4. Like, no, I don't want to equalize. I just want to, you know, be slightly worse. That's essentially what black's doing here. It's like, no, I don't want to equalize. I definitely want to be slightly worse. Surprisingly, this was played successfully by some players, but nobody really like known playing white here. Vallejo lost against Ugar. I mean, simply the stronger player, I guess, won. H3 takes, queen takes, knight c6, focusing on the d4 square. You know, so white has a little bit of a space advantage, so he should be a tiny bit better, essentially. Now e5. I mean, this move is kind of weird in a way, because black doesn't have a white square bishop. Because black doesn't have a white square bishop, he's going to be weak on the white squares in particular. So I would have thought like something like knight d7. Maybe trying that. I don't know. Anyway, okay. e5, d5. Big question about this, I think, Mule Skinner. Because we don't really mind this. This is how Vallejo played. And honestly, it seems to me like white is a little bit better here. Maybe it's just equal. But like, as far as like white losing, I mean, it seems a little exaggerated that white should lose this position. You can see, according to Stockfish, that it's like plus point something for white, you know. So it's absolutely unnecessary, you know, for white to lose here. At worst case, it's equal. But I can see how it could happen. I mean, you could lose. What's up, Infinite Flash? Who are you? You know, you could lose the e-pawn. Definitely. Invisible Flash Chess. At horse case. A little stuffed up. Too much time in the bomb cyclone. Maybe I have some sort of sinus issues. Anyway, let's see what he did. So d5. Mule Skinner likes closed positions. Now I kind of would think that black should think about knight d4. Sherif Lajos, Hungarian Grandmaster. If white has to play bishop takes d4, then I'm not really enthused about this. I was hoping that white could trap the knight on d4 or something. Yeah. So this game here with Sherif Lajos playing black, white makes a terrible move, bishop takes d4. White's whole advantage is the bishop pair, so you can see like queen d1 calls the question. It's an interesting game after that, you know. So instead, we have knight e7 and then bishop g5. I mean, the first thing I would consider here would be g4. Kind of extreme. The other thing we could try is like rook d1. Maybe like trying to dissuade black from c6. Vladimir Onishuk. That guy plays the Pirts all the time. But he plays some weird chess. He's really like an alien style player. Loses a lot of games with black, trying to play risky style chess. Okay, knight e7, bishop g5, knight d7, queen e3. This I'm not happy with. You know, I really don't want to play bishop h6 and trade. That's my Vadim Milov game, where I just like helped him trade off his bad bishop. Hey, I'm going to help you trade off your bad bishop. So I don't know. You know, it looked to me like earlier I kind of liked g4. I'm wondering if this is even effective for white. Immediately, like, the advantage dropped to nothing after Muleskinner played like queen e3. So this looks like the bad plan, a bad plan. And then the dark squares. There's Civ on the dark squares here. So white's position is a little suspicious, but I'm not sure black should necessarily go f4 or not. It's definitely reasonable though. No, but I mean, I would play this. Nefedov would offer a draw here. Offer a draw. Offer draw. Offer draw. Offer draw. Offer draw. Offer draw. Maybe something like that. You know, can we draw here? Computer says black is clearly better. Rook f7. I don't know about that, but you know, it's a King's Indian. It's weird. A weird King's Indian. All right. Anyway, let's see what happens. So here. It's going to take a while to get that queen side in motion. What's a quick passing through on King's Indian defense, white pawn on c4? It's not a King's Indian defense without the white pawn on c4. That's the thing. It's not. You know, it's not a King's Indian. It's a Pirts. It's totally different. And it's probably better for white in a lot of situations, but not so much here because he needs that pawn in this Mar del Plata, you know, classical King's Indian type of position, right? I mean, Muleskinner needs the c5 break. His position's all messed up. He should have like a bishop on f2 and be like pushing c5. So it's kind of a bad King's Indian, essentially, is what we're looking at here, where there's no plan. The white bishop is awful. You know, this is awful for white. Yeah, Infinite Flash Chess was actually right about something. He said it's a bad King's Indian. Exactly. Sadly, black doesn't have that good white square bishop he normally needs, which is kind of ironic, you know. But white's, it's like, you know, this bishop is so bad that it's even better. Yeah, like Uber Driver, both sides stand badly. Not super happy about h6. I would like to trade the dark square bishops if I were black here. You know, maybe the Kasparovian, like knight g8, just to trade the dark square bishops would be a good plan. Might be too late for that. Anyway, guys, it's hard to conduct the classic King's Indian attack without the white square bishop. But this is the point where white should start thinking about heading for the hills, you know. Get on your horse, like Kim Jong-un, and start riding the white horse to the queen side. Got to get in our current events into the stream here. Get on the white horse and start riding it over to the queen side before it's too late. Here, you see. Get running, get going, come on. Start bailing before it's too late. Luckily, black doesn't have the white square bishop here. I stink it jokes. All right. Oh, yeah, the classic. I talked about this today, ironically. The classic King's Indian pawn grab. Wow. Muleskinner, you should start playing d4 if you like that. Ivan Chukian. Knight takes a7. I remember one time I saw like Jay Bonin play rook takes a7 and trap the bishop on a8 on a7. That's a thing that happens. Rook a7, bishop a7, b6. You know, try to trap the bishop on a7 like that. It's a King's Indian. Oh man. I remember the first time I lost with white to Alex Scherzer in a classical King's Indian. where this happened, you know. There's rook a3. Where's our last guy? Like, slow hands opponent would have been all over this. You know, he would have been all over this position. You know what? Still, knight h4 looks kind of problematic for white to meet. I guess g3 would be our only option. This is not looking good. Yeah, it's not looking good. Nothing's looking good. We've got a little problem. Oh, no. Okay, you're right. You're right. Rook a3, it does work. Okay, yeah. We can take. Sorry. We can take and play. All right, no, it's actually playable. Okay. So this is the game. Hg4, bishop g4, queen d1. Hey, even this works. White starts taking with the white squares like a virtual Korchnoi. c6. It's like my game with Boris Kryman. Knight c7, knight e6, the invasion. Yeah. White square meltdown. See, that's what he gets for not having a white square bishop. Muleskinner should definitely start playing d4 with white. No, he's meant to play d4. He's just meant to play d4. Okay, guys, let's move on. So we've got Azerbaijan and Bob remaining with 10 minutes left. Seriously, Muleskinner, I mean, you should consider playing d4. I mean, a lot of closed positions that can arise, and you like closed positions. All right, Acerbate, where is it? Philidor. I love the spelling of this. Phonetic Philidor. Phonetic Philidor. All right. I went to a kindergarten where they taught phonetic spelling. They would have appreciated. They would have appreciated Acerbate. All right. Maybe he went to one too. I got a compliment on my vocabulary recently. I think we had a player on Twitch send me a message that I had the best chess streamer vocabulary, which I really appreciate. I took that to heart. Okay, so this is Acerbate playing the white side, the Philidor. His favorite opening to beat down. Another h6. How many times have we seen this, man? I think you should do self-publishing, Acerbate, and write a book on the white side of the Philidor, because you played so much against this. We've done some serious discussions of this. I mean, I would just crank the d4. With ideas of possible c3. You can sack it like a whatever Danish gambit or you want to do. This is extremely strong. d4 with the idea of not taking back. Jim would probably be down with that, and someone on sound. d4 with the idea of not recapturing on d4. You're just going to try to play queen b3 and blow black away really fast. But Acerbate takes his time here with c3, which isn't quite as strong as d4, I think. You know, I had weird Wednesday streams. I would do unusual openings, and this reminds me of this, you know, Steinitz playing like, what was it? Knight f3, knight c6. Maybe it was this position. I'm just trying to think. There was this, perhaps. Something like, there was a Steinitz game where he did f5, or maybe it was knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, f5. I can't remember now. That's probably better than this, though. You know, after h6, seriously, c3, f5, because you have this vacuum. You know, I mean, it's even worse. There's even more weaknesses. Doesn't knight take c5 just like end his existence? Knight e5, d5, queen h5 check. What's up with this? Would this be playable? Unclear. White is slightly better. Oh my god. Alpha Zero says knight takes e5. I don't know. But it looks fun, Acerbate. I would try this next time. Whatever happens here, we want to see the Alpha Zero Acerbate matchup after queen h5 check, king here, d4. I want to see a thematic match between Acerbate and Alpha Zero from this position. Yeah, the old bishop g4, knight e5 mate. But let's see what happens. So f5, d3. Come on. You can't play d3 here. No matter what you do, don't play bishop takes g8. I don't care what you do, but that just takes, you know, the life out of chess. d3 is so feeble. What's the best move? Oracle. Principles. The computer actually likes taking on f5. But I mean, this feels like the right idea. Open it up. Now on this, that's the question. What do we do now? Is this an improved version of knight takes e5? There was this guy from New Jersey, a master named James West, when I was playing in high school, and he's still around. Move 11 has played him. He's like a floor master. He's 2200. He can never go below 2200. He wrote like dozens of articles on the Philidor counter gambit. e4, e5, knight f3, d6, d4, f5. But I mean, how does this compare to a Philidor counter gambit? I mean, that opening is unsound. But if you add to it h6 with additional weakness of like the g6 square, I mean, this is a horror show. You know, you could do anything here. I guess once, I think Acerbate, didn't you have a game where you did like knight h4 once and your opponent didn't take? I mean, that's like the only way you could screw this up. Yeah, I mean, I think of course Infinite Flash, like this got to be good. This is a better version of the same thing. Queen h5 check, king d7. Queen f5 check, king c6. I mean, it's one thing to turn it on the engine and say, oh, it's plus 3.8, but, you know, in a real over-the-board game or, you know, blitz game or whatever, it's not that easy to see, you know, this is just lights out. I know Infinite Flash just likes the classics, so this is a perfect game for him to join the stream on. d3. It's John Spielman. John Spielman versus Nefedov. Part 2. And then f4. You know, it's kind of funny that this move, it almost seems logical, like you kind of want to shut it down because you're, you know, close the position when you're in danger. But ironically, this is a big mistake according to the computer. Saw a similar position like the other day where Ivan Sokolov did something kind of like this with black. You know, it's like black is one move too slow, I guess, to do basically f4. I mean, we're still on this, aren't we? Now, apparently you have this move. Simply playing bishop f7 check. But, alright, everything's good. Let's see what happened. g3, Acerbate. Going with the g3. Attacking the head of the pawn chain. That is not a move I expected you to do, man. It's a gutsy move. Against the grain. He's going against the grain. g5. d4. Breaking the center. And now it's starting to feel like a King's Gambit. It's starting to feel like a Kieseritzky or something, like g4. We just let him take it, right? Like g4, pawn takes f4. This is the sickest King's Gambit ever. I mean, come on now. Pawn takes knight, queen takes. It's a really good King's Gambit. Steinitz would dig this. That we do not fear g4. No, this is sensible. It's the Fischer variation. Knight c6. Sensible developing move. And then acerbate closes the position with d5. Go to the back of the classroom. Go to the back of the classroom and write, 100 times, I will not close the position when I'm ahead in development. I will not close the position when I'm ahead of development. Will not close the position, You can erase Bob's words on the chalkboard back there about fake news. And maybe I was wrong about that. I don't know. I couldn't believe that could have been true. But anyway, no, you can't close the position acerbate. Come on. You got to open it up. Open it up, open it up, open it up. Open it up. You're ahead in development. Play the King's Gambit. Open it up. Sack a piece. Come on, man. This is over. This is just over. No, d5 is really bad. Against the spirit of the game. And now we're into like a Mule Skinner game. It's the same thing as the last game. Bishop, my God, man. It's Mule Skinner. Same game from before. Now he's got the sneaky queen checks. Maybe acerbate should be playing d4. Good to see Turkey Farm. Turkeys aren't hiding. They're nervous about the bomb cyclone. I don't think they like that. They live up in trees, and all their trees are like destroyed now. Okay, guys. Yeah, this was a bad game, acerbate. Not one of your best efforts. You're just totally done. And he just missed the check there. I mean, come on. You should have seen that. Queen a4 check picks up a piece. This was not acerbate's best game. What just happened? I mean, I don't know what black should do here. I don't know what black should do, but I don't think you should just ignore whatever's happening here. Maybe take, that's the engine suggestion, sack and exchange, and then play like knight f3 check. Yeah, this actually looks pretty good. Like a good exchange sack. So black blew it, black took here. The king is nowhere safe to go. Kablam. Mate. Almost mate. He found knight f5. But this is mate. Now it's really mate. It's aesthetic, Acerbate just like the aesthetic final position. But this was not one of your good games. I gotta be honest. You went against principles here in this, and we've worked a lot on the Philidor. Alright, Bob is the last game. We're saving the worst for last. Alright, Bob. The worst troll on the stream. Not as a chess player, you're the worst. You are the most problematic troller. A game against me, don't do that to me when I'm tired and you submit a game against me. I hate to analyze my own games. Can't believe it. I should have vetted this properly. We have that. People aren't vetting things, and I'm contributing to the lack of vetting. I didn't vet Bob's game. So I'm white and Bob's black. You just realized that Bob is in love with me? Bob has a huge crush. Even though I'm straight, he's hoping. That's alright. d4, d5, c4, c6, knight f3. So bishop f5. Oh yeah, this I remember now. So I didn't play effectively here. Bob, I wasn't paying attention. I do this a lot in simuls. Well, that's why I get a lot of, inappropriate actions, Bob. Yeah, I've had a history of that. I'll have to try to speak with a deeper voice, Bob. So bishop f5. I oftentimes in my simul games, which this is, I don't really think. I don't focus in the first couple of moves. I can't find my focus. So if I was playing Bob one-on-one, I would be like, oh yeah, bishop f5, of course, it's not really a great move. I can play queen b3. But I was just sort of sleeping through the first couple of moves. You can do c takes d5 and then queen b3, or you can do queen b3 right away. But you need to do queen b3. If you don't do queen b3, you get nothing. And this happened to me against John Shaw, I think. I ended up doing something like that. I did do queen b3. All right. I was concerned I didn't. So it's the next move. You know, it's funny. I don't think I've ever had anyone do this against me that I can recall. I mean, I just assumed like c5 was a good move. Isn't this a good move? Funny. Deeper voice just attracts a different type of guy. See? That's what I was afraid of. And I don't want that kind of guy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want any guys, but particularly not Bob. Maybe the deeper voice would work better. Anyway, I don't like where this conversation is going. We're gonna end the stream here in a minute, but no, this is a funny. Actually, Bob raised an interesting question here. It looks like c takes d5 is really important. I certainly had no clue that this was mandatory. C takes d5, c takes d5, then queen b3. Okay, so queen b6, he can do the same thing, and then you take here. Okay, why is this not relevant in the other variation? Because he has a pawn on c6. This is very important. I should remember this. I should have known this already. See, that's the thing you get away with, though, because like people, like no good players play bishop f5. This is like, I don't have to learn this, you know, I don't have to know this because good players don't do this, you know what I mean? So I've been lazy all my life and never really bothered to even understand why, you know, this isn't good. You taught me something here, Bob. You forced me to realize the error of my ways. Queen b6, I think in the stream I said, oh, I should have played c5, but that's actually not a big deal. You know, here I would like to play bishop f4, but I can't because of checkmate. You know, this is my favorite checkmate. When you allow this. That's got to be my favorite checkmate in chess, you know, honestly. Like the London system mistake. Bishop f4 sacrificed in the wrong position. But I didn't realize there's so little room for error here. Like you literally have to take on d5. There is this move though. You know, this is relevant. It's like a, what is it called? Baltic defense type of thing. Maybe it's not that bad. You can do queen takes d5. We're going to transpose. Yeah, it transposes to the Baltic defense. Except c6. I mean, how does this compare to the normal Baltic defense? d4, d5, c4, bishop f5, c takes d. Yeah, I mean, it's different, right? It's a lot different. Bishop takes, if rook takes b1, queen d5. It's quite different, you know, not the same. But that's his best move. Taking here, rook takes b1, queen d5. It's just that c6 has been played unnecessarily. Ulf Andersson unable to beat a 2300 from this position, notably, in 1996 when he wasn't that old yet. Yeah, Uber driver with a funny suggestion. It did cross my mind. That's cool. I have never seen this position before. Yep. Not enough. It's good to know. We learned something from Bob. Because of Bob. Despite Bob. Anything pre-Botvinnik. Capablanca was horrible at openings, right? Infinite Flash Chess. Anything post Capablanca. Queen b3, queen b6. And I did this. I should be ashamed of myself for such a lame move against Bob. It's in chess traps and zaps. That's one of my first 5 chess books of all time, Uber Driver. Not a great book, but one of the first. So I played super lamely. And basically I'm black against the London system with an extra move. Passpon, thanks for resubscribing. 16 months. That's getting up there. He's not a creator, but he's close. Knight f6. Bishop d2. I'm playing like Valentin Arbakov. He who does not shower. Rest in peace, Valentin. Your smell will be remembered forever. Bishop d2. Knight e4. Oh man. Knight e4. This is the Bobster. You know, it was funny. I was thinking about knight h4. Look at this. This is awesome. Knight h4, knight d2. King d2. That is a tremendous idea. I told the story before. He played like 2 weeks worth of tournaments in Philadelphia. And he had only one t-shirt. It was a smiley face, like one of those smiley face, yellow smiley face t-shirts. He wore it for 2 weeks straight without ever having a shower, as far as I know. You know, it was pretty scary. It was nasty. He was a Gorky Park hustler. Yeah, like 18 games straight with the same t-shirt. He slept, I don't know, he like slept in the hotel lobby or something. Not really good hygiene. You remember that he was disqualified because he was too drunk all the time? Did he change his shirt? Because this was just devastating. Like, you couldn't even like sit, you know, you couldn't sit within 2 boards of him. That was his lucky t-shirt. He had this smiley face t-shirt. It would have been better if he had one of those smiley face t-shirts with the like bullet in the head and the blood dripping from it or whatever. But he just had like the traditional like smiley face t-shirt. Anyway. Alright, this is Bob's game. He's solid here, but he played this. Bob, you played a perfect London system. You know, I mean, like, even h6 would be okay. You know, just a creepy slow move like h6. But you have nothing, no problem here, and he plays c5. He was too busy trolling, or, you know. Bob, concentrate on the game. c5, just abandoning your control of the center. Yeah, it's a reverse London. Knight c3. Apparently I'm supposed to play bishop takes. Kind of a weird move, I think. I jumped at the chance to improve my structure. Now here, unlike Naj Papa, I couldn't put my king on e2, so I have to settle for castles. f6, he was hanging in there. So I decided to take, get the d4 square, bishop d7. Here, Bob makes another mistake. This is an instructive position. Very similar thing happened in a game from the Isle of Man now. Boris Gelfand won a game against Nihal Sarin, where Sarin just like gave up the bishop pair for nothing. You know, it was like an instructive mistake. Same thing here for Bob. Bob, you must play bishop d7. You can't just like give up your bishop for a knight, like your good bishop for a knight for no reason. You know, this is completely inappropriate. It's like lazy man's move. Bishop takes d4. I'm just gonna like improve your pawn structure. You're improving my pawn structure and giving me the bishop pair all in one move. You know, this is a huge concession just because it was like the easiest thing to think of. This is a much better move, bishop d7, and black is still like fairly solid. So huge positional mistake. And I took with the c pawn, and I'm not sure about that. You know, looking at this in retrospect, I really need to give serious consideration to the other capture. I'm just not sure like which capture is better. Maybe, I don't know. It's a hard call. Let's see what the engine says. Damn, the computer is on the fence. It just thinks they're both very close. Yeah, seriously, I just didn't know like which way to take back. I went with the larger pawn island. I mean, I'm gonna try to play for f3 and e4. It was a solid effort by Bob. You know, it really was. But now this pawn, and he just walks into tactics. So clearly, like here, I mean, maybe there's some tricky move like b6, but if you have to, okay, you know, you play, I guess you play bishop e6 here. He wanted to centralize his king, but Bob's weakness is tactics. He doesn't calculate because he's too busy trolling me to calculate. I'm floor reincarnated. Yeah, this is an awesome position though. We had e4 actually. Why didn't I play that? Well, I mean, I guess I saw I didn't like this. I didn't like take d5 check king d6. What am I missing here? There's like bishop c4 check. Oh, this move. I definitely didn't see that. So I played g4 here, and now take, and now it's even stronger now. Now it's just over. So Bob tries a desperate sacrifice. It doesn't work. And he loses the exchange and the game. And it's just resignable. Okay, guys, it was a long one. I've got to get out of here. Interesting games. We'll be back tomorrow with Blitz and just Blitz and Blitz. Thanks everybody for watching. Fast Blitz tomorrow. Open challenges, 5:30 p.m. Thanks to our backup mod, Infinite Flash Chess, and of course Mr. Coffee. Hello. So, we are a little bit behind on the audio, the video track. Sorry. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.